Hello again, YouTube. This is The Truth, man. Last video of today. I'm doing pretty good as far as work. And I wanna get this content out and then focus on my work. So Candace Owens, one of us black conservatives, just say, well, she married to a white person. Listen, like I told somebody earlier, the truth is the truth regardless of who you choose to marry or what their skin tone is. People try to dismiss the truth when they either are unintelligent or they just don't want to deal with truth. She made some comments. I'm going to play the comments, and then real briefly, I'm going to give my take on it. And we're going to go for a ride. I'm going to give my take on it, and then we're going to close. Or I may just do it before I go for a ride. Hold on one second.
Pull a racist narrative from thin air where it doesn't exist. When it actually is in their face, they try to avoid it at all costs, especially when the perpetrator is a black person against another white person, which obviously happens more often in this country, given the fact that black Americans are the most murderous group in America by rate.
Okay, so we'll talk about that.
We don't want to hear with no propaganda. We want to deal with truth. So I cut off the source of the comments because I really don't want to hear what she had to say. I normally listen to people, but after that first comment talking about she's doing what she's paid to do, it don't matter if she paid to tell her, to say this or say that. If it's the truth, it's the truth. And like I said, unfortunately, you'll hear my GPS. Let me just turn it down. Unfortunately, people don't like to deal with truth. But I agree with her, once again. Blacks are the most, by rate, the most murderous group in the United States. And we are only a small percentage of the population, but when it comes to homicides, we are number one. Does that have to do with race? No, it doesn't. Why? Because even though, now I'll admit, the movie industry, the music industry is owned by, it's not owned by blacks, let's just say that. And it produces horror films. It produces music and content that if a person were to act on it, it will lead to violence. It will lead to homicides. That still doesn't take away from the truth. Nobody's making black men kill other black men. And every time somebody has something to say about it, every time somebody tells the truth about it, instead of saying, okay, I'm throwing this gun in the lake, I'm going to stop doing it, I'm going to turn myself in, or whatever you choose, they just continue to do it, and they continue to blame white supremacy for all of the issues in black areas. I'm not going to say community because we don't have communities. Like, there's no community. Like, even you could be doing something normal, like just trying to get a burger, and a lot of these people will look at you like they want to kill you in black areas. Now, of course, in white areas, they can be some good old boys too, and they got their ways too, but we're not talking about them because they're not killing us. Well, maybe in some little sinister ways, but she's right. Blacks are the most murderous. Rittenhouse didn't have what, and I'm still trying to figure out. Rittenhouse basically came over here trying to help people protect their businesses from rioters. Now, does he have a right to do that? I mean, he might have been a little young to do it, but if he was old enough and he was a licensed gun owner, and that's the way he chose to protest, the amendment rights are amendment rights. I mean, he has a right to protest his grievances. If a person has a business and because George Floyd, you know, I'm not going to even get into that because I want this to be heard. But things happen with George Floyd, and things happen with Rittenhouse, and neither one of them were in terms of Derek Chauvin, you could say that he wasn't good at his job. You could say that this, that, and the other, but we don't know what his intentions were. All we know is that somebody died. Somebody else went to jail, and he should have. He should have went to jail. But it should have been, well, we ain't gonna even get into that. Because life was lost. And anytime life is lost through negligence, you can prove negligence, you know. I think as people who are the color that are called black, don't call me black. Call me a money man, or call me a ambitious man, or call me a American, or call me something else. Don't give me a little connotation that somebody created because they didn't like people that look like me. And then you try to put that stigma on me. God didn't say I was black. So I'm kind of getting away from that term. Like, it's pretty annoying too, like, to be placed in a category that is intentionally viewed lower than other categories. So I don't really like people calling me that. But yeah, I agree with Candace once again that both of those things, they really didn't have nothing to do with race. Like, things happen. Like, and I posted a video on Facebook of a little kid that people would call black, like a teenager, threw a hubcap like a frisbee and hit a police officer right in the head with it. There's many videos of people abusing police officers. I worked in corrections. I saw people, a very nice guy that I knew that was basically close to harmless, picked up and slammed in his head, busted his head by a inmate, subject, whatever you want to call him. He did what he did. And nothing much was said about it. It just wasn't right, and he ended up quitting. But had he did that to him, though, see, the double standards of the left are just ridiculous. And most of the time, I can say the Most High does not agree with them. Like, he don't always agree with the right either, but he don't agree with the left on these things. Like the guy in Waukesha that hit all the people. Come on now, man, how do you justify that? He could have got out of the car. What is he running from? What is he so scared of? Like, that's not about race, man. It's like, maybe, who knows? I can't say what was going through his mind, but how is him, if he get 100 years in prison, how is that race? And the man killed, what, 6 people? Because I'm sure even if he was another color, he would get a lot of time for that. They try to make everything about race instead of achievement. That's why people come to this country and they become wealthy and successful, and they secure the bag, as you call it, and the wealth for their future generations, because they don't focus on things like white supremacy. Like, why do you care what somebody else thinks in their mind? The facts is nobody's supreme. But why do you care if they believe they're supreme? Like, it doesn't bother me like one bit. I know I don't fear death. I don't fear people. I know that one day I'm going to pass away, And how it happens, like, I'll never fear people based on how it's gonna happen. But people use this white supremacy stuff as a reason to stay on welfare, to when you go into debt, when you have bad credit, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to fight your way out. Sometimes you need programs, this, that, and the other, but that don't have nothing to do with white supremacy. Those are just programs to help you. The white supremacy is propaganda. It's like a title that's meant to keep chaos in the mix, if you will. If a person needs help, they need help. Go get help and get up after that. You know. I mean, I'm conservative. You don't have to be rich to be conservative. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I keep living, I'm going to be rich one day. Based on the principles that I follow, not based upon white supremacy or me being a COON, which I'm not. And most people that you call, and look at a raccoon's behavior. And then tell me who's a coon. Look at a raccoon's behavior. They go to places they're not invited, sometimes stealing, creating messes. They have rabies, and they can be very dangerous if you get too close to them. Now, does that describe like your average black conservative, or that describes your average person that's accepting the struggle and trying to waddle around in the mud to the struggle? And that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. This is The Truth Man. This is the No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel. On this one, I talked about politics. As you can see, I talked about several subjects on today, but I'm signing off now. Thanks for watching.